Welcome back to this special edition of Media Week, coming to you from one of the MCN Homefront events, the subscription television advertising agency's chance to sell its 2013 program lineup to media buyers. Well, let's find out what those media buyers think. And joining us now is Henry Tager, Executive Chairman of Media Brands. Thanks so much for coming on the program. Tell us, you're here. Do MCN, do their upfronts better than the free-to-air networks, or is it just a different way to do things?
I'm hugely impressed with this year's upfront presentation. MCN have once again given us a real interesting glimpse for what's to come, and a great wrap-up of the year. Done in fantastic surroundings, beautiful house, and a real demonstration of how Foxtel can integrate into a home. So fantastic. Nothing like it in the market so far. So hats off to Anthony and his team for once again putting on a great show.
MCN seem to have had a pretty reasonable year in terms of revenue. Are they holding on to clients a little bit better than their sort of free-to-air counterparts?
I think they're holding on to clients and growing their client base. I think the pay television platform in Australia is now fully embedded into Australian behaviour, and I think the team at MCN have done a really good job of finding a way to integrate marketers' thoughts and marketers' objectives into their platform, and today was a really good demonstration of not only a great platform to reach the Australian public, but also how to engage and create attention in a really integrated and interesting way. So I think what we've seen in the last few years from MCN is that continual improvement and evolution of that product, and I think they should be very proud of where they're at, and they definitely offer serious options for advertisers and us agency guys to invest in the platform.
We've been hearing about a drive for fewer ad breaks on some channels, and a real drive to lift subscriptions as well. Are those sorts of things important?
Well, definitely. They're the base for what the platform represents to us. A growing subscription base means a bigger and tighter audience. Having the willingness to have a degree of flexibility in and around their ad break structure demonstrates that they're prepared to make change to what is a really important part of their business, and obviously listening to their customers and the consumer and responding is important to maintain growth. So yeah, it's a positive sign.
With things like cost per thousand, how much does that come into it? And then their audiences, are they bigger spending people? What's attractive about them?
It's no doubt it's a more affluent market in comparison to the broader media sector. Cost per thousand is one of the metrics. I think it's quickly becoming a very outdated metric, and I think what the team at MCM are doing with Multiview hopefully will help the marketplace evolve out of CPM and more into real actions and real effectiveness, which every advertiser ultimately looks at the ultimate outcome for what they're investing in media, regardless of the channel. So CPM is where we're at today. I think Multiview and the size of what Multiview can be moving forward with, when they tap into the set-top boxes, is hugely exciting, and hopefully will make that CPM word extinct.
When it comes to that second screen experience for watching TV or video entertainment, obviously we've got Foxtel Go now. So are tablets, do you think, going to offer more opportunities for enhancing that sort of TV viewing experience in the future?
I think they already do that. From a viewing perspective, the second screen, third screen, shared screen environment is happening in the homes, and it's enhancing the way people are consuming. I think over the next 12 to 18 months, that same evolution is going to take place in terms of advertising options and solutions, and I think that the Foxtel platform is way ahead of the broader market, because it's actually a digital platform to start with. So its origins are digital, and I think that it augurs well for the pay and Foxtel platform, and MCM have the capabilities and are building up the specialties in their teams to commercialise and create meaningful solutions back to clients. And and working with the agencies in a pretty collaborative manner.
Henry, thank you so much for coming on the program today.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Henry Tager there, Executive Chairman, Media Brands. All right, time now for a check on the TV ratings. And James, this for week 48, free-to-air top 10 first.
The last official week of survey writing.
There we go. We've reached it.
We have.
Sunday night.
Sunday night ending the year in top spot. 60 Minutes not far behind it. You know, those shows have both had a really good year.
And just turning the page there, 9 News, they're at number 7, and Home and Away also a number 10. Turning to the subscription TV top 10 for week 48, Grand Design.
Yeah, another old favourite at the top there, continues to do really well. It's about the end of this season, but they're working hard on some new shows for next year.
And America's Next Top Model in there, and also Tower Heist on Showtime. So, James, as you was just saying there, the TV ratings year has now ended. What were the important points to know about each network?
Probably nothing's changed much over the past few weeks. You know, it was a market really dominated by 7 and 9. 7 just ahead all people, 9 doing very well on the key demos. And it's, you know, 10's all about focus on 2013, you know, their key programs, their key reality formats, and the sort of Australian dramas, the returning programs they've commissioned, and the new shows that they've ordered for next year.
We're not seeing much growth in the digital channels ahead of the digital switch off.
No, I think it's not in the sort of business model at the moment for the free-to-airs. They want to keep those big audiences on their primary channels. So we'll see the live sport for at least, you know, I'd say a couple of years, yet maybe longer. Live sport, you know, event TV, the big marquee brands, you know, whether it be The Voice, MasterChef, things like that, they'll all be staying on those primary channels. So I think we'll see those multi-view, the multi-channel, the digital channels, staying at levels similar to what they are now.
We have finally heard the Australian government has deferred any potential legislation in terms of regulating the print sector, but it has announced changes to the regulation of the free-to-air TV sector.
Yeah, we're going to see that licence fee rebate continue, and then when it's reintroduced next year, it'll be 50% of the old rate, up to a maximum of 4.5% of revenue. So that's a big win for them. There's now going to be sort of mandatory Australian content required onto the digital channels, but they're doing it in a different way. They're introducing a total number of hours for Australian content across all your channels. It starts at 730 hours for 2013 calendar year, then it sort of doubles by 2015. We're also seeing the reach rule relaxed, where previously channels couldn't reach, or a network couldn't reach more than 75% of the Australian audience. You can now, you know, get everybody if you want, which has led to speculation that, you know, we could see mergers between 7 and Prime, or 9 and Win, perhaps.
Yeah, and just over in the UK, of course, we've had the findings now, the recommendations from the Leveson inquiry as well, recommending this independent self-regulatory body for the newspaper industry, backed up by legislation, but the Prime Minister, David Cameron's not really in favour of that.
Yeah, I sort of commented last week, it looked like he might have been sort of pushing for that, but he sort of, if he was, he certainly stepped away, and there's a bit of debate within the government which way to go, whether they should have that independent body, or, you know, go for a self-regulation of the industry. You know, and we're having that same debate here too.
We have seen News Corp, of course, come out and announce the details of the split of the two companies. What can you tell us? Yeah,
well, some of this we knew before, but we've got a little bit more clarity now. So News Corp is going to be the name retained for the publishing division, so it's all their newspapers around the world plus the TV investments in Australia. Running that will be Robert Thompson, the former editor of the Wall Street Journal. Rupert Murdoch's not going to be far away from the action though. He's going to be the chairman there. And the entertainment division will be called the Fox Group. So keeping that name Fox, it's been a brand of theirs. Rupert Murdoch will actually be the Chief Executive Officer of that, and Chase Carey will be the COO. A few other little things this week. Tom Mockridge stood down on the same day those announcements were made. He runs News International, so he's no longer in the picture. And they're going to close that sort of experimental iPad-only newspaper they had called The Daily.
Mm-hmm. Just turning to the Walkley Awards, and they have been handed out, and it sounds like it was pretty close for the Gold Walkley.
Yeah, look, there was a couple of people involved there. Kate McClymont and Steve Pennells both won 2 Walkleys each. You know, the gold winner has to come from one of the winners, so they went for Steve Pennells, who sort of won a few Walkleys before. So it's a great sort of salute to him for his work. And there was a lot of happiness too about the Border Mail, a regional media group, picking up one of the awards too.
Just turning to the Perth Sunday Times, it's released a new replica app.
Yeah, absolutely. There's lots of ways you can have the native app, which is sort of just built for the iPad, or you can look at the newspaper and flick the pages, which is what they've done with this new one. You can also interact with it on the web. But it's interesting, in that market, they're up against the West Australian, which really hasn't been investing much in that digital space yet. So the sort of Sunday Times and Perth Now, as they call their website, have got it pretty much to themselves. But it's been paying off for the West because their readership and circulation figures are still pretty good.
Yeah. Just returning to TV now, and we've seen Sky News take over management of the Weather Channel, and also Stan Grant's going to be returning to Australia for Sky News as well.
Yeah, Stan's coming out, going to start work towards the end of January. He's going to be hosting sort of an evening anchor of the news there. And the Weather Channel, it'll throw up some interesting integrations where there's big weather events. You'll be able to, flick between perhaps the Weather Channel and Sky News and see what they're both up to.
And we've seen Foxtel already add some new channels to its Foxtel Go app for the iPad.
Yeah, it just seems like yesterday it was launched, and I think it was. We're seeing 3 more lifestyle brands have come on board. Fox 8's come on board. It was previously just catch-up content. And Soho, one of their sort of newer channels, which we've talked about before, you can also now watch that live.
Nine and Foxtel also have both won awards for their coverage of the London Olympic Games too.
Yeah, absolutely. They were, I think Foxtel won silver for their best on-air promos, a nod to Graham Burrells for his work on their presentation. And we talked to Jeff Brown last week. He said, look, Nine's still involved in bidding for the next games, and they won for their overall coverage. Some big competition up against them too, NBC and BBC.
Yeah, absolutely. TV1 also coming out and revealing some new brand positioning.
Yeah, they've got a whole lot of new programs coming out. They're getting The Good Wife is coming to the channel, which has been doing okay business for 10, but that's one of their new programs. They've got some interesting programs up, sort of promoting their sort of content as an overall package.
And just looking at 7, Matt White's departed as the host of Today Tonight. Is there anything wrong with the program?
Look, there's not a lot. There's some new management going to be taking control next year, but they'll be careful not to sort of, change it too much, because they've still got some pretty big numbers. The show's in the top 5 programs most nights, so you wouldn't want to mix with it too much. But Matt's gone. Bit of speculation Helen Kapelos could be coming in, but we're not sure. It might be a national role, or they might go back to state-based anchors.
And Joanna Griggs is going to be hosting one of 7's big shows coming for 2013, House Rules.
Yeah, House Rules. Yeah, she's of course hosts Better Homes and Gardens, so she's great in that space. And she used to host a program called Auction Squad, which was also in that real estate space that did well for a while, so she's probably a good choice for them. And
just in radio, finally, Nova Perth has been celebrating 10 years on air this week.
Yeah, the third of the Nova stations to launch, so there's 3 have already had their celebrations, still got Adelaide and Brisbane to go. 10 people still working that Perth station that were there 10 years ago.
Wow, there you go. That is a milestone. James Manning, as always, thank you so much.
Bridie.
James Manning, editor and publisher of Mediaweek. Well, that's all we have time for on the program, this special edition of Mediaweek this week. From the team here, thanks for your company.